Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here for the ultimatum, y'all. Episode 9 and the reunion. Were there any surprises, y'all? Were you guys surprised about anything? I wasn't. I guess the only thing I'm really surprised about is how these women didn't see any of this stuff from the very beginning. I tell you, there are so many lessons in this season of the ultimatum. I know everybody thinks it was a throwaway season, but for anybody out there still dating, it was a good season for you. Because if you don't already know some of these lessons, at least maybe you learned a couple. And the first one we learned about was with JR. Now, I sent out some warning messages earlier on. I told everybody, hey, be careful with personal trainers. Be careful with them. I don't want no personal trainers to be mad at me. I don't want them to be upset with me. I don't want you saying I've stereotyped personal trainers. We know it's not always the case with personal trainers, but I'm telling you, be careful with them. And a JR was no different. My warning should have been taken by Zaina. But like I said in my earlier videos, the real problem that Zaina had, which if any of you guys watched my earlier videos, Zaina was so busy trying to be a wife before she was a wife that she didn't do step number one. And that was to first figure out, is JR even worth being a wife to? There you go. I said it earlier on. Zaina was doing way too much. I said, why is she doing all this stuff? It's almost as if Zaina just wanted to get a ring. And in fact, you know who picked up on it? JR picked up on it. He knew it because he said it to her at this little, is he going to get down on one knee or you're not going to get down on one knee? He actually said, you know what? I really didn't know if you were just wanted the ring, the wedding, the friends, to brag to your friends. I really didn't know what it was, why you were pushing marriage so hard. Because what he was saying was, I'm not really marriage material. So why do you want to marry me so badly? JR was like, I'm not even ready for marriage. Why do you want a man who constantly says he's not ready to marry? JR said, I don't have no money for all this. I don't have my life established. Yeah, I may be darn near 40, but I don't have my life established. I know JR kept saying that the reason why he wanted to postpone marriage was because he was protecting his heart, but he ain't ready. He's not ready financially. He's not ready spiritually. He's not ready emotionally. He's not ready on any of those ways. And instead of Zaina recognizing that, what she did was she tried to be a wife before she determined whether or not he was ready to be a husband. I don't have no problem with a woman showing a man that she's wife material when she gets ready to get married. But like I said, don't show him everything. And then the other thing I have a problem with is showing a man you wife material if he ain't husband material. What for? Why I got to show you? Why I got to show you I'm wife material if you ain't even husband material? Get out of here. Zaina played her cards all the way wrong. I hope she learned something. I really hope she learned something. They really did bust JR. They busted him really, really well because when the episode 9 first opened, they said, remember, JR's big lie, he and Sandy's lie was that they had only kissed. First, they said one time. Then they said, oh, yeah, that's right. It's been 2 times. But when episode 9 came on, man, they just ran that loop of all the times they had kissed. It had to be at least 10 times, at least 10 times that they kissed. And before JR could meet up with Zaina to tell Zaina, I ain't going to marry you, he said, let me make one last stop past Sandy because JR got shook when he was with Sandy. I said before, JR got shook when he was with Sandy, but, and there's a big old but, Sandy realized in the end that the same thing that she's been doing with Nick, she was doing with JR. I said it before. I know a lot of people didn't like that I took up for Sandy and said that Sandy's biggest problem is she thinks she can save men. She thinks she can turn men around. She thinks she can make men better men. So once they leave her, they're even better. It's almost like, what's the opposite of Captain Save-A-Ho? I don't know. When a man wants to save a woman, it's Captain Save-A-Ho. What is Sandy? Because Sandy really was coming here thinking she was gonna help JR be this better person. But in the end, at the reunion, she realized uh, he can't be saved. He can't be saved. He's a lost cause. And once she realized that he was a lost cause, she was in tears at the reunion too, because what she realized was that she didn't realize how deep seated, how deep rooted the issues with JR, what they were. And what she assumed was that he just needed to have a little bit of love and attention and cared upon. And if he felt that, then he would be a better person. But she found out through all those clips and all those hidden mics and hidden cameras and all those outtakes of JR, she found out that she was just a number. She was just a number. So she wasted her energy on him. She wasted her energy trying to make him better and trying to reform him, just like she wasted her energy on Nick. Sandy was never going to choose JR. It doesn't matter whether or not they slept together or not. I'm one of the ones who thought that they did. I don't know. But whether they did or not, Sandy was never, ever going to choose JR. But what Sandy wanted to do, like I said, she's kind of like, the female version of a Captain Save-A-Hole, emotionally and mentally. She likes these damaged men because, Nick is damaged. He's very, very damaged, and so is JR. And you would think that the two most damaged men on the show, let me not say that because Scotty's damaged too. But she happened to pick two damaged men on the show, the one she came with, which is Nick. And she somehow partnered up with the second most damaged person, which is JR. Why? Why are you attracted to him, Sandy? Like I said, Sandy, do a little bit of homework, do a little bit of therapy, and figure it all out. But when they met up for this little, meet-up rendezvous before JR was going to have to tell Zaina, I don't want to marry you. When she came up, she gave him a kiss on the cheek. A kiss on the cheek. So all that hot and heavy stuff that was going on before, all of that's over with. It was a kiss on the cheek, and that's when JR knew the door was closed. The door was closed because I'm going to tell you what, when he met up with Sandy, if JR could have done a second rendezvous with Sandy, he would have. JR already knew at that time that he was going to say no to Zaina. He knew it. Now all he had to do was figure out was Sandy still going to be open to him, in this little meetup rendezvous, or was he just going to go away alone? And so when he met up with Sandy, and Sandy gave him the church hug, and Sandy didn't even give him a kiss on the cheek, she just kind of turned her head. He knew right away that door was closed. But that didn't mean he wanted to marry Zaina. That didn't mean, when he was describing Zaina, he told Zaina that I have love for you. That's, telling someone I have love for you, that's a goodbye speech versus I love you. He just kept telling Zaina, I have love for you. That's completely different than that I'm in love with you and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Zaina never saw the signs. Zaina, like I said, was so busy concentrating on trying to be a wife to these men, doing wife things. She did it with Scotty. She did it with JR. She never saw the signs, and she didn't see the signs for over 3 years. What is blinding Zaina? Is it the good looks that JR has? What is blinding her to these men? Because she spent 3 years of her life with a man that I'm going to say has done this all before. I know a lot came out in the reunion about JR texting other women and in the DMs with these other women and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. But I said it during the whole episode that this isn't new to JR. JR does this flirting all the time. And I'm not for sure why Zaina never saw it for 3 years. Why all of a sudden is it revealed to Zaina? And then when she does figure it all out, all she does is move across the street to another apartment building across the street. Girl, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But Zaina puts on a facade. When they did meet up, JR says, well, how was your evening? Was it restless? She goes, no, I slept like a baby. Girl, get out of here like you so confident. Zaina act like she's so confident But obviously not, because she spent 3 years with JR. That does not scream confidence. That screams like, I'm just going to hang on to a man, even though this man has told me over and over again he doesn't want to marry me. This man flirts with other women. This man tells me I have love for you and not I'm in love with you. Once he realized that the door was shut with Sandy, he went over here and was like, this last 3 weeks with you has been blissful. And he said, I'm so happy that he's able to be so much more emotionally vulnerable with Zaina. And it's like we're finally seeing each other after 3 years. Exactly. What were y'all doing for 3 years? That's why I said Zaina didn't really know JR. She wasn't really looking at him. He wasn't really looking at her. I almost think they just think of themselves as like the Ken and Barbie doll. Like, we look good together. On the outside, we look great. But yet, we're just now seeing each other after 3 years. Zaina really wasn't trying to get close to JR, because that's how Sandy got as far with JR as she did. Let's be honest about it. Because what Sandy was doing was that she really was going deep inside of JR, and Zaina was never doing that. Because you know why Zaina don't want to do it with her own self? Most people don't want to have deep emotional conversations, because what that would mean is you would have to share those same things about yourself, and Zaina is guarded. Why would Zaina want to go deep with JR when she doesn't even want to go deep? Not really. So they spent 3 years looking in the mirror at each other, going to events arm in arm, dressed up, looking good. 3 years of that, posing, taking Instagram photos and whatever else they doing. Nothing of substance. So when they finally meet up, Zaina's got her hot dress on. He's like, "Oh, you look good. You look good." And they're holding hands, and he's looking into her eyes, and he's talking about how pure she is and how she's going to make this great mother. But all of a sudden, he drops the bomb on her and says, "But I can't give you what you want." You deserve better than me. You deserve what you want. And it was in that moment, Zaina snatched her hands back. They was holding hands, and the minute he said, "I can't give you what you want," she snatched them hands back so fast. And that is what we've seen from Zaina. Zaina knows how to turn it on really, really quickly. Turn it on quickly and turn it off really, really quickly. That's why I've kept saying about Zaina is, do we really know who Zaina is? Because I saw it with Scotty. She dives in. It looks like she's all in. It looks like she's just gung-ho for this person. She's going to give it her all. But the minute something goes wrong, even if she should turn away, she can turn it off real quickly. She can, and most people who have real deep feelings, it's not that easy to turn it off that fast. It's just not that easy. And the minute the JR told her that, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to propose to you," she turned off like that. And then we saw her, of course, at the reunion. She was full on with her foot in his mouth, up his butt, which I'm saying it should be. But my problem is, why wasn't it there before? Because I think it wasn't there before because Zaina was still trying to get something out of the deal. And that's where I keep saying that part of Zaina is Zaina also has to realize about herself that she's quite calculated. She's quite calculated. I mean, she told us on the reunion that she's gone ahead and she's frozen her eggs, which nothing is wrong with it. That's why I don't even want to act like being calculated, there's anything wrong with it. But I do want her to realize that it comes across. And as a result, when someone thinks you're so planned, you're so calculated, you're so in control, it can really make them question whether or not, why are you here? What are you here for? Is this real or is it not real? And I think part of that, as much as I hate JR, as much as I don't like JR, he did pick up on that about Zaina. He says, "I really don't know if you're here just to have the ring, just to have the dress, just be able to show that you're married on social media." And I think a lot of what he was saying was true, because I think JR knows that I've messed up a lot in this relationship with Zaina. I really haven't shown up the way that I should show up as a partner to her. But for some reason, she just stayed. Why is she staying like this? Because she just wants to be a wife? she's willing to put up with all this crap just to be a wife. I think that says something about Zaina, and I think JR picked up on it. And and when they got to this reunion and they were showing all these clips of where they had cameras when JR didn't even know there was cameras on him. He's kind of dumb too. Not only is he busted, like my thumbnail said, he's busted and he's dumb because I guess he didn't realize that he was being filmed and his mic was being recorded the whole time, because the way that he was going around to all these women, Aria, Sandy, rubbing on their legs, having all this sexual conversation. He really looked like a fool. He looked like a fool so badly that he was even embarrassed. You could tell he didn't want to be on this reunion. I mean, the minute they said rap, he was up off that couch. He was gone. He was gone. He threw up his hands. He was ready to leave because he was busted. He was busted with his hands full, with his hands in the cookie jar, and there was no way for him to defend his actions. And the type of defensive mode he went into, you realize that this is not JR's first rodeo. Like I said, I knew it before. No one can do this for the first time on TV. This is what JR does all the time, which tells me Zaina has been overlooking it for 3 years. 3 years. When Zaina pulled up those receipts with that barcode on her nail, I said, what kind of AI stuff is this? I said, you young people really got it going on. She had a barcode on her nail that she was able to put and scan the QR code, whatever it was, on her phone and pull up her receipts to the folder. Woo, I tell you, calculated. I told you Zaina is calculated. She thinks things out. You know how much thinking had to go into that plan to go to your nail tech, give them a QR code, pay for all that extra detail work, put it on your nail, bring it. This girl, she need to be a part of the CIA and the FBI. She could go undercover because she wouldn't get wrapped up. She would know how to play the role very well, make everybody think she's wrapped up, but she ain't really wrapped up. She gonna be there for a reason and for a cause. Men better beware of Zaina. I'm telling you, she ain't no joke. She ain't no joke out here on these streets. She's no joke. But she thinks that she's more crafty than she is, because I peeped her out. I really did peep her out. But like I said, she's so busy working on her game, being crafty and sneaky and calculated. She put on blinders to the fact that there could be somebody else out there doing the same thing as her. You ever hear about thieves among thieves? You ever hear about the con man getting conned? That's what happened to Zaina. I'm telling you, I'm not calling her a con woman. I'm just saying that she plays a role too in a relationship to get what she wants. And when she was doing that, she was thinking that she was getting over on JR. And in the end, JR was just a dweeb. He's just a dweeb. And I know a lot of people didn't like Sandy. A lot of people didn't like Sandy. They thought Sandy was manipulative, but I never thought that about Sandy. I kept saying that, like I said, Sandy was just a Captain Save-A-Ho. That's what I looked at her as. And when Sandy started crying, she started crying once she saw back all those clips of JR. And that's when she realized, wow, I sat up here and poured all this energy into this man, thinking that I was helping him, thinking that he was coming sincere and that he really did need help. And I was going to do a good job and I was going to really be able to help him. And I thought I helped him. And lo and behold, he was lying to me the whole time because he really was a wolf in sheep's clothing. So she was crying. It's the same thing with Nick. The fact that she likes to endure this type of emotional pain and trickery by men, but she hangs in there longer than she should just so she can feel as if she did the right thing. I don't know how many times Sandy kept apologizing to Nick, saying, I don't really want to hurt you. Because in Sandy's mind, she really doesn't want to hurt him. She wants to help him, but yet it's not helpful, Sandy. You're not helping. You're not helping. And really what you're there also for your own sort of satisfaction. I don't think that Sandy has, you know, um, malintentions. I just don't think that she has them. I just think that Sandy has her own trauma that makes her stay in these types of relationships. So I'm happy that she was able to, one, separate whatever was going on with JR, fun from fact. But I was also happy to see that she separated from Nick, because Nick is crazy. Nick is very, very crazy. And Nick says that he's got a new victim. He got a new wife. Not a wife, good Lord. He's got a new woman. But I don't know if that new woman became a new woman before she saw the ultimatum, because she's going to need to watch this series before she decides if she wants to stay with Nick. Nick revealed to us not only is he's got some mental trauma he's working through, he's an alcoholic. He done gone to recovery. He said he was also medicating himself with other types of drugs. So who knows, maybe some prescription medication. A lot of issues, a lot of problems he has. And one thing that did come out to be true, Vanessa saw it right away. I knew Vanessa got spooked. I knew she got scared, because it didn't take long for Vanessa to see how crazy Nick was. And I think that did add to her leaving right away. It added to her willing to go along with Dave and said, let's get the heck out of here. Because Dave wanted her to leave anyway. But had Nick not been a fool, had Nick not been crazy, Vanessa would have stayed. She would have stayed. But once she realized how crazy, delusional, and all this trauma that Nick had, Vanessa was like, yeah, let's go. Let's pack our bags and go. But one thing I didn't like about Vanessa, I thought she was kind of rude on the reunion. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if there was some stuff, off camera and social media that made her have this sort of, nasty attitude towards Nick. I don't know why she had it. She was kind of the one that sort of left him high and dry. So for her to come with this little kind of a nasty attitude, I didn't really like it. I didn't know where all this venom was coming from and why she was so much on the attack of Nick. But she came with her nails, her claws out, and I didn't quite get it. But in the end, Vanessa, it didn't work out for you. You didn't get no proposal. Here you are a year later. You didn't get nothing out of it. Like I said, lessons learned. Lessons learned. I'm not saying she should have stuck there with Nick, because I think Nick would have been emotionally damaging to any person. Why stick in there and do that? But on the flip side, she could have taught her own man a lesson, Dave. And in the meantime, Dave didn't get taught no lesson. He went right back to the same thing he's doing, stringing her along with no proposal, no ring. And all he said he did was, at least we've gone and looked at some rings. Girl, Vanessa, you over here happy because you walked by a ring store. Did you go in? Did you try on any rings? We went and looked at some rings. Where? Online? Did you just internet surf? Because girl, you didn't get nothing out of this. Nothing. You did all this to get nothing. You didn't even get no proposal. Talk about, at least we've gone looking for rings. Is there a down payment? Is there a payment plan? Has one been picked out? Does he know your ring size? Girl, get out of here. You got nothing out of it. Lesson learned, Vanessa. Like I said, there could be a lot of lessons to people up in here, from Sandy to Vanessa to Zaina. Everybody got lessons to learn. Everyone. And you know who else got a lesson to learn? Aria. I sure hope she did. I sure hope Aria got a lesson learned. I couldn't believe it. No, I could believe it when Aria said yes to Scotty. And the reason I can believe it is because Aria was in the same boat as Zaina, and in terms of she just wanted to be accepted. See, Aria can stay in her little delusional world all she wants, but Caleb was never going to be interested in her. And this goes back to the lesson for Aria. And I said it before in my last video that Caleb was not interested in Aria. And everyone, not say everyone, a lot of people kept telling me, no, they had an emotional connection. I don't care about emotional connection when it comes to men. Maybe an emotional connection means something when it's a woman with a man, but it carries less weight with a man to a woman. And so this is no different from women thinking they're in a relationship with a man because he's texting her, good morning, I love you, you beautiful. But yet he never sees her. He never spends time with her. He never takes her out. And this is going to be a lesson to women that with men, you better look at more than what they say. You better look at what they do. And that's been Aria's biggest problem all along is she listens to Scotty with all of his sappy talking, how much he loves her and this and that. But if she just watches what he does, he's a mean son of a gun. He's a mean son of a gun. And he was mean to Zaina and he's mean to Aria and he has nasty words, right? And he does nasty things. So stop getting trapped in the flowery words of men, Aria. Look at what they do. Look at how they treat you. And what Aria did with Caleb was the same thing. She got trapped in all of his flowery words. Caleb's just a nice guy. He's a nice guy. But as we find out on the reunion, Caleb was saying flowery words to Aria because he was just being nice. I don't think he was trying to mislead her, but every night for 2 hours, he was going into the bathroom talking to Mariah. What he says versus what he does. I know a lot of you are out there, maybe you're dating men who say a whole lot, but don't do anything. Watch what he does. Is he talking to you through text and on the phone and sending you notes and all this other kind of stuff, but yet he's spending his time with another woman, but you think he really likes you because he's giving you all these flowery words and you have an emotional connection? No. Men, watch what men do. Watch where they spend their time. Watch where they put their effort. Watch where they spend their money. That's where their heart is. Where they spend their time and where they spend their money, that's where a man's heart is. Not just because he can send you a text. Hello, beautiful. Women better wake up. So Aria's over here trying to evaluate men by what they say, not by what they do. And come to find out that she goes ahead and says yes to Scotty just so she can feel accepted because she already knows she got rejected from Caleb. By this time, she knows that she got rejected from Caleb because Caleb is not trying to leave Mariah for her. And unlike Vanessa, Mariah said, I ain't going nowhere. Mariah said, I'm not going anywhere because I'm going to sit right here and I'll let my man go over there and see if the grass is greener, but I'm not giving up on the experiment. Good for Mariah. You know, Mariah got left by Dave, but what Mariah did was Mariah hung in there. And in the end, she got her proposal. Now, am I advising this to women? No, because I think this whole show is ridiculous. But in the end, guess what happened? Guess what happened? It worked for Mariah, and Mariah's quite a bit further along than Vanessa is because Mariah got a ring, and now Mariah also has a wedding date. And the reason why I believe they'll get married is because the person taking the initiative to plan the wedding seems to be Caleb. Caleb said it. I heard it on the reunion. Caleb was the one saying, I'm getting the florist, I'm getting this person, I'm getting the wedding planner, I'm getting this. He was taking an active role in planning this wedding, so I think it's going to happen. And they said it was going to happen in 2025. So Mariah hung in there. She said, let me show my man some of the things that he says he's uncomfortable with me about. And maybe then that will calm all his fears. We find out that a lot of the fears with Caleb was surrounding, I think, his own sort of insecurities. You know, Caleb was saying that one of the reasons he was really afraid of Mariah was that she was so much in love with him that he felt he would let her down. In addition to that, he felt like Mariah hadn't dated enough men. And as a result, he was afraid that Mariah will wake up and be like, wow, you're not really the guy I want. You know, so a lot of Caleb's being afraid to be with Mariah was centered around him kind of not feeling as if Mariah will be with him through thick and thin. And I think what Caleb figured out was Mariah stayed in this ultimatum thing, even though he was sitting over there with Aria. that Caleb said, wow, she really is here for the long run. And I think that gave Caleb a little bit of confidence, a little bit of peace, enough peace that he was willing to go ahead and take a chance on Mariah with this proposal. But what I didn't like on this reunion was Aria's bad attitude towards Mariah with Caleb. It was almost as if Aria was trying to prove to Caleb that you lied, that we had more of a relationship than you tried to let on, just like JR was lying to Zaina. And she felt kind of shunned. She felt kind of pushed aside. Well, Aria, that's your fault. I keep telling you. Don't just listen to what men say, listen to what they do. And you knew that Caleb was in the restroom, the bathroom for 2 hours talking to Mariah every single night. So you should have known what was going on. Why were you willing to overlook that? Why were you willing to overlook what he was doing, but then only concentrate on his words? Because it was the same thing you did with Scotty. You know, Scotty is volatile. I mean, Aria's own brother said that Scotty had way too many tendencies like their father did. Argumentative, loud, mean. And lo and behold, that's what Aria said broke them up. Because even though Scotty went to San Francisco to live with her, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. Not at all. And I guess they tried it for over a year. She tried to get Scotty to take some accountability to go to therapy, but he never did. Like I said, words, no actions. I'll go to therapy, but then he never does. And when he finally went, it must have been in the 11th hour when Aria said, I'm going to leave you now. And finally, Scotty said, okay, I'll do it. By then, Aria said, it's too late. I've been asking you for over a year. You didn't do it, and now I'm leaving. Like I said, listening to what he's saying, not what he's doing. And there you go. You wasted another whole year with Scotty. Wasted time. This is not the time. This is not the years, ladies, to be wasting your time with these men who don't put actions behind their words. Okay. Once you get into your late 20s, your early 30s, you don't have 4 and 5 years to be wasting on men that are not putting actions to words. If you want to have a family, you don't. Now, you might can waste them when you're 21, 22, 23, 24, but once you get into 26, 27 on up, you ain't got time to be wasting. You better be really, really diligent in learning how to vet these men, learning how to look for signs, learning how to watch what they say, does it line up with what they do, and clearing out the muck and the mess. Not being overly drawn to men just because they look good or they got good bodies. Pay attention. Wake up. These are not the years. The years that Aria and Zaina are in, they are not the years to be fooling around with people like the JRs and the Scotties of the world. Leave them alone. Like my thumbnail said last week on the earlier episodes, dump these men. Move on. Find you a man who's built for marriage. And sometimes the man that's built for marriage isn't the man in the gym all the time with the nice buff body and the tats and all this other stuff that women are looking for that don't really get you nowhere. I hope a lot of people watch this season of The Ultimatum and learn some lessons because like I said, there were a lot of lessons to learn in this season. And I'm really glad they put JR as the poster boy for this season because he was busted and he is trash. Trash! I wouldn't even go to him as a personal trainer. Wouldn't even go to him as a personal trainer. What for? Just stay away, period. Stay away, ladies. Stay away. Anyway, that's all I got, y'all. I will talk to y'all later and happy holidays. Bye.